Welcome. I'm so glad you could join me. Welcome to the Grand Video Game Museum. And here we have our brand new exhibit ready to show to all of you. So if you'll step through this door, I'll now play this introductory video that'll show you our collection in full. Ready? Because here we go. Everyone knows the Wii. I'm not even gonna act like you don't know what the Wii is or what it did, because you do. You or someone you know owns a Wii. In only 7 years, they sold 101 million of these things. To put that in perspective, it's taken 60 years of Toyota selling the Corolla to reach half of that. There is almost one Wii for every citizen in Vietnam. There are micro Wii plastics in my micro ball. Point is, the Wii was popular. So popular, in fact, that I had one as my first console. I say it's mine, but in my mind, I always saw it as my dad's Wii because it would stay in the living room where he always watched TV. Because it lived there, I only ever played the one game I knew I liked, Mario Kart Wii. I knew my dad had others, but I never bothered playing them until now. But this isn't your average Joe's Wii collection. Unlike the many other video essay YouTubers who had a Wii and have made videos about it, I had something that made this Wii experience different from the rest, and I'm not talking about my autism. I'm talking about... That's right, I was born and raised in... I will not wait for you to make your very funny "you're going to" jokes in the comments. Okay, cool, anyway. Video games have a very unique history, but I'm here to talk about the Wii in particular. While the Wii was officially sold by Nintendo and back then, and still now to be honest, had very high tariffs on imported goods, meaning that it was extremely pricey for the average family. Less so the console, as you only needed to buy the one, but rather the games. One game in would go for around $100, which was already bad, but then you combine that with the Wii's tidal wave of shovelware and poor distribution, and you can see the problem. Not to be deterred, the proud people of my country found a solution to this dilemma. Piracy. Like, a lot of piracy. I obviously don't speak for everyone, but to put it in perspective, out of the 33 games in my dad's collection, only 3 are official copies. The rest are all handcrafted, hand-seasoned, and hand-aged bootlegs, and oh boy are some of these aged. O meu nome é Nosette e bem-vindo à grande coleção de jogos Wii falsificados. I'm gonna establish our format real quick. I'll be going through all 33 of my dad's Wii games in alphabetical order. I'll be looking at the physical media and pointing out any funny things about it, and basically giving it a mini review. It won't be very in-depth. I have to cover 33 of these things after all. After all that, I'll be placing it on a tier list because this is a modern YouTube video. Anyway, let's get started with our first exhibit. As the name and promiscuous discard suggests, Blazing Angels is a World War II plane fighting game developed by Ubisoft. This is our first of many disc-only games. According to my dad, these were just sold like this when he bought them. Due to a lack of box, most of these have custom labels, usually a cropped version of the actual box, but sometimes something completely unique, which this game has. I tried sourcing as many of these covers as I could, but many of the sites known for hosting fan-made covers have gone defunct. Quick aside, I do think it's much better than the actual disc the game came with. The original's plain black disc is just boring. So what's the game actually like? Well, it's a pretty decent plane shooter. All the controls make sense, and it utilizes the nunchuck for the throttle. To actually control the plane, you have to tilt the nunchuck like a plane's joystick. This will either barely work or be way too sensitive. The rest of the controls are all fine, but having to constantly keep mental track of how you're holding your hand up is hell, and it gets really tiring on the wrist too. This is one of many games that had a multi-platform release, so if you want to experience the game's pretty decent story, play the 360 or PS3 versions instead. I can't understate how baffling the mandatory motion controls are here. The Wii's classic controller was already out by over a year at this point. It can't have been that hard to just keep the same control scheme from a PS3 or 360 controller. I'm placing this on the top of D tier. It's on the cusp of being good with its story and pretty damn good graphics, but its controls make sure it doesn't go anywhere near over said cusp. We're not up to the best start, but I'm sure what's next will, oh god damn it. Carnival Games is exactly what it sounds like. You play Carnival Midway games, earn tickets, and spend them on things. Some minigames are actually fun. I like the balloon darts and the duck shooting games, but anything that requires fine control like skee ball or excessive motion waggling like the Strongman game are awful. My arm actually hurt from how much I had to waggle the Wii mode of the Strongman game. I have no idea how a kid can play that if I'm a grown-ass adult. This game's presentation is also really flawed. I get not wanting a regular menu, but having everything look like it's part of the background meant I initially mistook multiple games for set dressing. They explain the minigames via audio, which sometimes lasts longer than the actual game itself, but then they have a succinct text-only version right after anyway. Infamously, this game lacked the option to use Mii's, making the box art for this game straight up false advertising. The box features a very cute and clearly Mii-esque Carney, while in game he looks like a shitty analog horror edit of a South Park character by adding realistic eyes. It's awful, D tier. Just play Wii Play instead. At least that one doesn't verbally bully you when you fuck up.
I don't think those low numbers give you a very good score.
Cars Mater National Championship was one of the multiple Cars tie-in games made by THQ. While I believe the original Cars game is more well known, Mater National, I hate that name, Mater National uses many of the same assets and gameplay. What is different, however, is that this game has an entirely original story featuring, as far as I could tell, the actual cast.
Mater National! Yep.
Once again, this game is disc only, however this one just has the actual box art pasted on the disc. Or at least I thought it did. When I actually looked up close at it, I realized the box art on my disc was a very weird handmade amalgamate of the French and American artworks. You can tell by the strange extra text in the Cars logo and the valiant effort of reproducing the American title here. Being fair, I literally never noticed it wasn't the original until doing research for this video. The gameplay structure of Mater National follows the other THQ car games. You explore radiator springs, do races, be fast, eat ass, etc. I'm gonna be honest, the driving got on my nerves real quick. Your car simply does not turn. I more often than not had to use the wall as my steering. I'm putting this at the bottom of C tier. It suffers from the same lackluster controls as Blazing Angels, but it's much more playable in my eyes. Driver Parallel Lines is the fourth entry in the Driver series by Ubisoft. It's basically a more basic GTA with a focus on driving-based missions. I've never played the other Driver games, but according to what I've seen from reviews and retrospectives, Parallel Lines was basically an apology game after the disaster that was Driver 3. Or Driv 3er? Or Driv 3er? Again, I haven't experienced the other Driver games, so I can't exactly say if this game is worse than them, but on its own, I had a really fun time with this game. Mostly. Motion controls are kept to a minimum, only being used for aiming your gun, which makes sense. However, they also mapped tilting the nunchuck up to the car's handbrake, which went off multiple times while I was playing, all by accident. This isn't as atrocious as Blazing Angels, since you can just rest your hand on your lap and it won't go off. But don't even think about pushing your glasses up, otherwise you'll... The actual story of this game is legitimately really cool, so I'm not gonna spoil it here, but it, alongside the game's presentation and all 70s banger soundtrack, makes it an incredible atmosphere. While I think a lot of aspects in this game could have benefited with more time in the oven, this game's a total vibe. B tier for... bad fucking driver, yeah. The game didn't work. Yeah, be it due to disc rot or just a bad ROM, a couple of these games had issues loading. I was able to get the game to boot up to the title screen, but it would crash as soon as it had to load anything. It's a shame too, since I heard really good things about this game, and it was a launch title. Guess I'm not excited enough for this truck. DNF tier, I guess? Our first of many working racing games in the collection. Sadly, most of them, including this one, kinda suck. Ferrari Challenge is a sim racer with only Ferraris. That's already pretty dumb to me, as half the fun of any racing game is the car variety. What makes this game really annoying is the god-awful load times. Everything here takes 30 seconds to load minimum. What didn't help with my already sour mood was this random British guy in the tutorial who kept making fun of me for not perfectly driving around the tutorial course.
Hello, I'm Tiffany Dell.
F tier, boring as shit, basically a Ferrari commercial with about as much gameplay as one too. Not much to say about this one. This game is just a part of the two Sega arcade games of the same name. I think this game and the Wii are a great pair though. The Wii mode is pretty much a perfect recreation of the light guns arcade machines used, making the controls of shoot on screen, shoot off screen to reload dead simple. A tier. It's not perfect, it still has some of that arcade difficulty at points, but it's fun and spooky. Also, check this voice acting.
Now there's a guy with a voice acting. Reminds me of Rogan.
Indy 500 Legends is our second racing game, with this one focusing on 60s and 70s racing, which I find really novel. They even included all the extremely violent crashes of the time. Sadly, like many Wii games, this game has mandatory motion steering, making the controls feel way too loose for a game that requires really precise steering. They also never explain things like the fact that these cars have health, or that you'll drive slower the more worn your tires are. The 3 different races I tried ended up coming in dead last after just a few mistakes. I wish I could be more positive about this game as it's really cool, but the gameplay just drags it down like so many other games of its kind. D tier. Shockingly, Kung Fu Panda is our only movie tie-in game. Neither me nor my dad even remember having this game, even though there's a save file dating to 2009 in our Wii. I'll have to assume that it was my dad testing the game, because I'm one of the few people in the world who isn't a fan of Kung Fu Panda. It just never clicked with me. The actual game is a beat-em-up with upgradable abilities and character builds and dodge rolling? No. Kung Fu Panda on the Wii is a Souls-like? Maybe, I haven't actually played one. Kung Fu Panda feels to me what a baby's first Soul-like would look like, at least to my uneducated ass. Outside of this really funny tagline, the game's just kind of whatever. I didn't care much for the plot of the movie, so that doesn't help. And they included elements of platforming and wall grabbing, which just felt very unrefined. But ranking it on the standards of other tie-in games, this is a standout for sure. High C tier. Tomb Raider Anniversary is the remake of Tomb Raider 1 for the 7th gen consoles at the time. While it was well received in its other releases, the Wii version notoriously added Wii exclusive features, which meant unnecessary motion controls once again. Now, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. I do not care for Tomb Raider. The only thing I ever see people talk about of this game is how promiscuous Lara Croft was at the time, and as a professional lesbian, Samus is so much better than her. The actual game is just not my thing. I can see why people like it, but I don't. I have a bad sense for secrets and the worst sense for direction. My ass is the tomb raiding girl failure. D tier due to personal reasons alone. This is the second time I'm recording this because I didn't save the original time. I'm pissed. London Taxi Rush Hour, not Rush Hour, you can see there's only one H, is a Crazy Taxi clone made by Bold Games. Rushour. That's like being named Nosette and writing it as Nosette. Can you imagine? Anyway, here's another little secret. I fucking love Crazy Taxi. I've grinded my ass off on the mobile version of Crazy Taxi. I even own this super rare Crazy Taxi toy with one of the drivers from the game Axel. That all being said, I think I'm a pretty good authority on if a Crazy Taxi clone is up to snuff. Let's see that box first. Okay, the front cover's a little pixelated, but it's good. Let's see that spine. Isn't that the default font from Takes? That says Takes. Okay, just what's the back cover like? Is that fucking Times New Roman size 11? Fun fact, on the inside cover, there's a URL from where the bootleggers got the artwork from. All Wii games with a box were made by this group called Bad Boy Games. I couldn't find anything resembling them online. However, throughout their various game covers, you can find clues as to where they sourced their artwork. Our first clue is a Slovak video game wallpaper site called wallpapery.sk. I didn't spend too much time on the site, but going over to L, you can find the exact same images used to make this bootleg. As you can see, they're missing the back cover of the box, thus the unique mock-up, and the use of the text blurbs from the PC version of this game. Moving on to the actual game, London Taxi is absolute hot garbage. The controls are awful, the mechanics are baffling, the physics are nonsensical, and I fucking loved it. Unlike Tomb Raider, where the game is good and I just didn't click with it, or Carnival Games, where the game had production value but it's just not that good, London Taxi is so absurdly bad in every facet that I was laughing my ass off the entire time. Did I do well? God no, but I had way more fun in those 8 minutes driving the taxi with the world's worst motion controls than raiding tombs with the world's most mid-waifu. Putting the racist depiction of an ethnic man aside, this game has a single music track that constantly loops. There's no Offspring or Bad Religion here, just there's power-ups that give you extra time, boost, or remove your stink, if only they provided those in conventions. You might be thinking, a power-up to clean up your car, that must mean a dirty car earns less money, right? Nope. If your car gets to a certain dirt level, you cannot pick customers up at all. To make it worse, bumping into anything, which you will, not only makes the car dirty, but annoys the customer. If they get mad enough, they rob you and leave. You can't hit things or drive crazy in a Crazy Taxi clone. You'd think all of this utter bullshit would make me hate the game, but being so honest, it's so bad in so many ways that it reaches that ever-elusive, ironic enjoyment level. The actual concept of a Crazy Taxi clone taking place in London is genuinely a cool concept. So cool, in fact, that Tom Scott basically did it years ago. This isn't that really cool concept executed well at all, but its own insane thing. C tier. Stay classy, London Taxi. If someone were to make a video 100%ing this game, I would watch the shit out of it. Acme Arsenal is a 3D beat-em-up starring the Looney Tunes. According to my dad, he bought the game off the box art alone. Spoiler warning, but the box is the best part about this game. The actual beat-em-up aspect of this game is utterly mindless, and even worse, it's all motion controls. I was bored to death playing this game, just slowly meandering through a level, waggling the Wiimote at anything that moved, before eventually getting mildly stuck and just calling it there. I really don't have that much else to add. The game was so utterly boring, I somehow have more to say on London f***ing Taxi. F tier, it's worse than bad, it's uninteresting. Our first sports title, this is also the first entry in the now long-running Mario and Sonic at the Olympics series. And this one is really damn good. I have what the kids call skill issues, so I actually did bad at quite a few of these games like clay shooting or ping pong. But me and Luigi kicked ass at trampoline gymnastics. It sucks that for a glorified minigame collection, so many of the games are locked behind the campaign, but I get it. I want to bring up the fact that the motion controls for this game felt very accurate. When I had to swing left or right, it could tell really precisely how I did it. This is important because so many other games, not just sports ones, use motion controls that feel so imprecise all the time. What this game showed me is that no, it's not the Wii's age or the fact I don't have Wii Motion Plus. It's that some developers simply know how to program them better. A tier. It's a good time. You know this one. We all know this one. Mario Kart Wii is the best-selling Wii game second only to Wii Sports, but that's only because Wii Sports came with the Wii for years. I'm not even gonna bother talking about the game because we all know it's good. Instead, I want to tell you about the tale of my copy's box art. The inside cover is easy enough to find. On the bottom is the URL to the popular Nintendo news site, Nintendo Life. Strange that they used Arcade GP for the inner cover. There is a regular Mario Kart Wii paper in the site. But what about the actual box art? For a while, I thought this was some other region's box art. But taking a closer look at said box art, you start to notice some inconsistencies. Look at this pile of tires. That's just a regular pile of tires with the rubber inverted. Donkey Kong over here is using a card and power-up from Double Dash, and I'm pretty sure that's straight up Mount Fuji. Well, okay, let's just see if there's any clues as to who made this. Here we go. Cover design / created by Marker and available at consolecovers.com. Perfect, I'll just head over to Console Covers and the site doesn't exist anymore. Okay, not the end of the world. I'll try reverse image search. Okay, these look like it, but look at the back of the box. It's completely different. What gives? Well, as it turns out, this Marker person made two different versions of the same box. One for NTSC and one for PAL, with the only differences being the back and the PEGI rating at the front instead of the ESRB. And after a bit of searching, sadly, it seems that all copies of this image still on the internet are the NTSC version. Except for one, hidden away on some Russian Nintendo fan site in a page that seems to be the history of the Wii, is the single remaining online copy of the PAL version of this cover. I took the liberty of combining the high-resolution artwork of the NTSC with the back and rating of the PAL versions, and here is the result. I'm so glad I get to preserve this really cool cover not only digitally but physically too. Being honest, I don't know if it's nostalgia or not, but the actual cover for Mario Kart Wii kinda sucks. I get that the Wii wheel was a big deal for the game, but this box literally tells me nothing other than you can use the wheel and Mario and Luigi exist. Cover aside, S tier game, like there was ever any doubt. If you remember the last time I played a baseball game, you should remember these two things. 1. My dad hates baseball, and 2. I couldn't enjoy most baseball games due to having extremely complex and involved stats and gameplay. This game is an example of both of those things. My dad, once again, has absolutely no memory of getting this game. In fact, there were no saves of this game on my Wii, meaning he never even tested it when he got it. As for the complex gameplay thing, despite the very charming art style and extensive training modes they give you, I could barely understand what was going on or perform basic things like fielding the ball. This isn't the GOAT backyard baseball, but then again, neither were the two backyard sports entries on the Wii. C tier, it's functional, but only fun if you're really deep in real baseball, which I still am not. This game fucking sucks. Okay, fine, I'll talk about Carbon. Kinda. This game had issues reading the disc too. It crashed the moment gameplay started, which was about 3 business days after I started the game due to how many fucking cutscenes there are. But you wanna know the best part? For some reason, EA just had to have an analog throttle. We can't have those shitty buttons to control our precision machines. The solution? Make the accelerator a fucking motion control! This decision alone put put such a sour taste in my mouth, combined with the never-ending cutscene, that when the game crashed, I just decided, fuck it, I'm done. You might say I'm not giving this game a fair chance, to which I say, yes, F tier, get out of my sight! This game also fucking sucks. But for a different reason this time. Instead of it being awful to control and too hard, it's way too easy. I was beating other drivers in the exact same car by over a minute. I don't know if I by accident set the game to Goo Goo Gaga baby mode, but to be quite honest, even if the difficulty was normal, the game would still just be boring. Having these two Need for Speed games back to back, I think kinda highlights the fact that I'm not a fan of crazy street racing and culture. I'm too much of a grandma for it. D tier, at least it was playable, I guess. Pinball Hall of Fame is exactly what it sounds like, emulations of classic pinball machines. Both me and my dad are big fans of pinball. One of the first games I remember having on my first phone was an AC/DC themed pinball game, and it went hard as fuck. Anyway, the game is good. The very clicky triggers on the Wii and Nunchuck, while usually a detriment, gives these games a really good feel. My only gripe with this game isn't directly the game's fault, and that is the resolution. Everything is so blurry, partly due to the 480i resolution, and partly due to just small textures. Pinball machines, especially vintage ones, are filled with tiny bits of text everywhere. They're the instruction manual you read as you play, basically. And none of that is present here, or if it is, I sure as hell can't see it. They try to work around this by writing instructions and details on a menu before you play, but that just breaks my hashtag immersion. Solid B tier. Not doing this one, sorry. Okay, fine, I'll talk about it. I didn't play this. I know absolutely nothing about Resident Evil, and I have a little feeling starting on the 4th game, and specifically its Wii version, is a really bad idea. If it's any consolation, my dad apparently beat this game in its entirety, so, DNF tier again, I guess? Shrek is one of those franchises that suffers from a chronic bad tie-in games disease. I seriously can't name a single Shrek game that's even considered decent, and this one certainly isn't one of them. Shrek Carnival Craze is an even worse version of Carnival Games. The gameplay is dreadful, the minigames are boring and unresponsive, it has almost nothing to do with Shrek, and the icing on the swamp cake that is this game is that this is our first actual official Wii game. Out of any game in this godforsaken collection, why was this one of only 3 games that my dad bothered to buy full price officially? I'm not entertaining this thing's existence anymore. F tier, rest in piss, Shrunk. Force Unleashed was released in that blissful period before the sequel trilogy, but after the prequels. When the sequels were made, this game, alongside a lot of other Star Wars supplemental media, was declared not canon. Another thing this game is known for is the weird yellow label on the side most LucasArts games had. While it's not perfect, my copy changed the background to black and used the actual logo instead of Impact font. The actual game is pretty universally well regarded. I don't think there's much I can add here. I will say though, getting to play as Darth Vader for all of the first chapter and feeling just how powerful he is as a Force user feels fucking awesome. We're always told in the movies and such that Vader is this super powerful being, but the most we see him do is win 2 lightsaber duels and choke a guy. In this game, he crushes an entire building. My only gripe with this game is the use of motion controls as the attack input, but that's only an issue with the Wii version, so it's not really that big a deal. A tier. I haven't placed it higher because I haven't played through the whole thing yet. This game wants to be Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games so badly. As I mentioned earlier in that segment, the game proved to me that the Wii's motion controls often feel bad, not because of its inherent design, but due to how the developers program it. This game is the perfect antithesis to that, because it's basically the same game, but it feels way worse to play. The minigames are fine, they're even more boring now because you can't see Bowser holding a gun, and the overall lack of polish in this game just makes it feel utterly forgettable to me. The only other interesting thing to mention about this game is that the bootleggers use the GTA font on the back of the box. D tier, just play Mario and Sonic at the Olympics.
Luigi, I just want to touch you all over your manly chest. Want to bury my face in your breast.
I have absolutely nothing to add here. It's Mario Galaxy, dude. It's a good game. Here, look at this shitty redraw of the box art I did like 5 years ago. S tier. Moving on. You wanna play Wii Sports Golf but worse? Play this game. I may have had a change of heart with baseball, but I will never like golf. Golf is the sport only played by the worst type of person on the planet, rich people. My dad also hates golf. He doesn't even remember buying this game. His only guess as to why we have it is he got it for free for another game. F tier, get out.
Tennis.
You wanna play Wii Sports
Tennis
but worse? Play this game. I may have had a change of heart with baseball, but I
somewhat appreciate tennis. Tennis
is the sport only played by
A
type of person on the planet, people. Jokes aside, this game really isn't that interesting. C tier, it's playable. Our second official Wii game in the collection. I may hate Disney as a corporation, but goddamn are they good at making some theme park rides. I live in Florida, so it's basically a legal requirement that you visit Disney's parks at least once, and the Toy Story Mania ride was one of my favorites. For those that initiated, Toy Story Mania is a shooting gallery game. In the parks, you sit in a cart using a mounted cannon to shoot targets, trying to get a higher score than the player sitting next to you. The cart moves and spins to go to different scenes. It's a fun time. The Wii version of Toy Story Mania is just a lower budget version of the ride, but that doesn't make it bad. Using the Wiimote as the gun feels good enough to control, honestly more controllable than the actual cannon, and the graphics are fairly nice. Something I neglected to mention is in the actual ride you use 3D glasses, which really helps bring out the depth perception. They obviously couldn't do this with the Wii game, however, included in the box were 2 pairs of these 3D glasses. In the game, the 3D versions of games have their own section. However, you have to unlock them. By default, the only game you can try them on is the aiming practice where you shoot pies at Woody and Buzz. Kind of a letdown since who's grinding Toy Story Mania for the 3D versions of shitty mini games? B tier, it can get kind of boring after you've played it for like over 30 minutes, but it's still a fun time. Yeah. This is ultimate duck hunting. You hunt ducks. I genuinely don't know what the fuck is going on. My fatigue meter is at dog. Maybe the back of the box has more information? Times New Roman size it last! The Wii had a series of games which had Wii in the beginning of the name. Wii Sports, Wii Play, Wii Fit, etc. Other companies wanted to do this, but since Wii is a copyrighted name, they instead used the pronoun we. These in general are known to be pretty bad, so you can imagine my expectations when I saw the disc for Wii Ski. But honestly, this game's adorable. This is the one game where I think having a character creator that isn't the Mii maker is an advantage. These characters are so cute. Obviously, a cute aesthetic doesn't really help if the game's no good. And while it is pretty damn reliant on motion controls, they're responsive enough and the tutorials are pretty comprehensive, so it's easy to just start skiing around. I was already completely satisfied just calmly going down the slopes and mountains in free roam. High B tier. It's Wii Sports. I guess you can count this as the 4th official game in the collection. I don't know, I got nothing. A tier. It's Wii Sports. Again, it's Wii Play. Everyone's played this. It's a good game. I'm bad at this YouTuber thing. A tier again. The box for this one is straight up wrong for some reason. Either way, both of these are soccer games I've never heard of. I would say this is a FIFA house, but that implies I like those games. This game is just FIFA but more advanced. I couldn't get into it. I could enjoy watching soccer, but not really playing it. C tier. Game whose title is too long is a poker game developed by Activision. I am a fan of casual poker. Poker Night at the Inventory is one of my favorite games, for example. In that game, sometimes the game will play kinda slow because two characters will be having a conversation. But in this game, nobody talks, and it somehow takes even longer to go through a single cycle of the table, let alone a round. This game is a completely serviceable poker title, but it's about as visually entertaining and unique as any run-of-the-mill electronic poker. You just can't compete with some of the best media franchises ever, and Taiko, who's there too. C tier. And so we come to our last game, and also our third official game, unless you count Wii Sports from earlier. Quantum of Solace is a game version of the Bond movie of the same name, as well as its predecessor, Casino Royale. My dad is a huge Bond fan, and according to him, the movie itself isn't very good, and according to me, who's played the game, it's not very good either. To be fair, this game's graphics are genuinely impressive for the time. The only thing holding it back is the Wii's 480i resolution once again. The gameplay, however, is just a very haphazard version of a first-person shooter. You can guess why. This game was released on everything under the sun at the time, so once again, best version of this game is likely the 360 or PS3 versions. C tier. Not gonna lie, kind of an anticlimactic end to the collection, but after the rollercoaster we just had, I'll take a calmer ending. You know, even though we talked about the games we have for it, I never did talk about the origins of the Wii itself. It is an official Wii as far as I can tell, but another thing I failed to mention is that by default, the Wii can't play burnt discs. If this was a stock Wii, almost the entire collection wouldn't work. According to my dad, he was sold the Wii as region-free. But how can that be, you ask? If you have all the components of a new in-box Wii, he can't have bought it modified from the store. Well, my dear viewer, my dad bought this Wii in a different way from most. Not secondhand, not by traveling to the US, but by going to a motherfucking bazaar. It's safe to say that even if my Wii wasn't sold from some shady man in a freaking bazaar, this console and game collection are one of a kind. Sure, monetarily, all these bootlegs are practically worthless, but none of that matters to me. No one else on Earth has a physical copy of Mario Kart Wii with this case. No one has the crispy London Taxi Rust Sour, and no one has the ultimate version of Ultimate Duck Hunting. So, if you'll excuse me, I gotta get back to...
Please, hands in the air.
What the fuck did I do?
Having a bunch of Wii games without a case.
Yeah, no, that's fair.